Hello, everyone. We're gonna go ahead and get this started.
Top of the morning to you.
Yeah, top of the morning to everyone. We'll kind of let everybody filter in because I know I have a few people that are going to be watching with us.
I don't know if anybody from my TikTok's actually coming over. I posted a video.
So did I. I posted one on TikTok and I kind of did I told some people about it. There's my Miss Tiffany. Hello, baby girl.
Probably would help if I switched it over from private chat to comments, huh?
Yeah, probably.
Hello, Tiffany.
We're gonna have a nice little chat with Mr. Sinful, TikTok creator, and mental health advocate extraordinaire, I would say. He does not suffer.
That shit crazy.
I wouldn't say he suffers with mental health. I would say he probably puts it on the front porch with a glass of sweet tea and says, "Here I am."
I sit down with my demons every day and come up with my content. It's cool. We break bread, eat lunch.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of like me. He kind of shakes their hand and goes, "Well, hello, welcome to the party." The beer's on the right, the
right.
Coffee's on the left. Here you go.
And we're all out of sweet tea because I drank it all. But if you need some, just give me a holler.
Yeah, just let me know. I'll make more. And that's one of the things, at All for the 22, we definitely, we always say, hey, mental health, they aren't demons. They're, kind of just with us.
Pretty much.
Everybody's got them, so it's kind of like, not a very big, it's not something very few people get out of life without some kind of, mental health blah. People just don't get out of life without something. They've had some. Yeah. Exactly, Tiffany. They like to play with each other. They're like,
I wish mine played together well.
Yeah. Mine play together well most days. Then there are days when they're like, no, F you, I don't want to talk to you. And they go to their separate corners and then two fight in the middle. It's kind of like, MMA Sundays.
Not a bad thing.
So it is 6 o'clock my time, 7 o'clock his time. God knows what the rest of the times are. We'll go ahead and I know everyone who follows All for the 22 knows who I am. I am the CEO. My name's Penny. And we have Mr. Sinful, also known as Chris, who is a TikTok creator, goes by Mr. Sinful.
I have to do it once. I have to do it once. Penny.
Yes.
I had to do it
once. All the time. We have known each other for several months. We have both been very, we both tend to lift each other because one of the things that we both are very much, we spread the love, not the hate. We choose love over, one of the biggest things that him and I have always found in common is people choose to, love for no reason, hate for no reason. We choose to love for no reason.
Kind of like good and light has to balance each other out.
Yeah, we're the good. Screw the, we're not the dark. But one of the things we've also bonded over is we accept the things that have handed, that life has just kind of handed us. Because, nobody chooses to have mental health issues. We didn't choose these things. They just kind of happened. And so we've talked about it. I mean,
they usually say, if life gives you lemons, make lemonade. My life gave me Jaeger and Red Bull, so I made Jaeger Bomb.
Mine handed me tequila and lemons and went, here.
There you go.
Figure it out.
This shit works together somehow. We're just not sure how it works.
Yeah, we're not sure how.
This is the second time we've been live together that you have dropped me.
Oh no, you fell off my book. But it's it's one of those things that mental health. It's it's very easy to look at it and go, why me?
Yeah.
And for you and I, we kind of didn't go, why me? We went, hot damn, let's go.
And that's kind of the reason I stayed on TikTok was, I've started noticing there were more people that were like, dude, the shit you say kind of goes hand in hand with how I deal with everyday life. And I'm like, because most people don't realize just because you have weird thoughts, or you have insane thoughts, or because you're a little bit different, doesn't mean you're alone. How I'm I'm the captain of the SS Eccentric over here. I mean, come on. But if people would realize they weren't alone, I think it would make life being different or strange a little easier to deal with. I mean, I grew up in Kenton, Ohio, which is pretty much a Republican, very conservative town. And me and my buddy Derek used to walk down the road in full black, just full, nothing but black, and just stare at people. Like, yeah, dude, don't ask questions. We'll take your soul. Ah! That's part of the reason I learned to do that whole Undertaker eye roll thing, because it freaks people out.
Well, and like most people look at me and they're like, "You're a CEO of a nonprofit," and I'm like, "What? I'm not allowed to have tattoos and crazy hair?"
I think one of my favorite things when I worked as a department manager at Walmart, there were people because I ran the toy section. People would come up and be like, "I'd like to speak to your manager." I'm like, "Nice to meet you." Like, there's no way you're the manager. You're covered in tattoos and you have eyeliner and this, that, and the other, and you got contacts in, and there's no way you're
I can't look funny and be responsible.
Like, look, just because I dress like a Sith Lord running the Star Wars department does not mean I'm any less of a manager than the guy in sports.
Yeah, well, and it's quite funny because most people, they look at me and they think, "Oh, she's irresponsible," and then I'm like, "Yeah," and I raised 7 kids to adulthood, and none of them died.
She said, for some reason, little Nikki popped into my head, getting the flask, get the flask.
And and it's like, well, and see, Jill, my Jilly Bean, I love her to pieces. Oh my gosh, she's my Jilly Bean. People, they look at they look at our outer exterior, but what they don't look at is the fact that many of us, we have the tattoos, we have the wild hair, we have that unique look because we don't want to fit in. We were meant to stand out. We were meant to say, "Here I am. Like it or not, I'm not going to fit into your cookie cutter. Yeah. I don't go in a box. I'm a freaking unicorn."
Well, it kind of goes back to the phrase that gave birth to my catchphrase is, "You were born an original, don't die a copy." It means you, regardless of what you were born or how you were born or what circumstances you were born into, there's a reason you're here, and there's a reason you're you and not, the next guy standing next to you. There's something special, something unique about you that the next person doesn't have, and you've got to figure out what that is.
Exactly.
And make that your thing.
I have to say this, and I'm going to say this out loud because she hasn't heard it out of my mouth yet. If somebody makes fun of you, Jilly Bean, for your makeup, I'm going to kick their butt because you slay that shit. Excuse my language. I know Facebook's probably going to, smack me. But my friend Jilly Bean can slay some makeup better than I've ever seen anyone, even drag queens. And them girls can, them people can slay it. That girl is outright awesome. And Tiffany, you do not look like a heartless, cold biatch. You are gorgeous. Well, then I'm going to go kick your mom's butt, Jilly Bean.
What she said.
But, and the thing about it, one thing that I love about you, Chris, is that you've never, like, to me, I've never looked at you and been like, "Oh, he's scary." I've looked at you and I got to know this man.
I feel like I have that appearance to some people that, like, don't know me. They look at me and they're like, "God, he's an asshole. Like, just look at him. you can tell he's an asshole. And I'm not gonna lie, I am to most people that piss me off, but more often than not, if you're not somebody that's ever done me wrong, or you're just a random person on the street, like one of my favorite things about being on TikTok is fan service. I absolutely love fan service, whether it be hey, what you do at this video, or the little girl that cut her hair like mine, or anything. Like, I'm the guy that if you come up to me on the street, like, hey dude, can we take a picture? I'm like, hell yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
And it's one of my favorite things, and I think people forget that your fans are where your popularity comes from. Tiffany Vaughn, he was singing well that. Thank you.
I definitely don't think you come off as an asshole either.
Tiffany, what is your TikTok name if you were in my live?
That's Crazy Psycho Mama.
Oh. Gotcha.
That's
I don't think you come off.
I don't think she does. I think that all for the one who's typing in is all for the 22 is Christy. Am I
was
wrong?
wondering.
Yeah, I think that's either Christy or Chris, but I don't think Chris is on here, so maybe it's probably Christy. Because we share admin on this. It's me, Matt, Christy, and Chris all have the admins on here, so she probably forgot to turn it off. Yeah, that was Christy.
Sorry, y'all. I know I keep adjusting my microphone and everything. I'm not used to talking in this thing with the sound cover on, but I realized if I didn't on camera, it looks like I have a big metal dick in my face. So.
Well, I mean, to each their own.
I'm telling you,
yeah,
iRobot.
oh my god. Okay, so we're
Most
gonna
people
go
watched
ahead.
it for Will Smith. I was watching it for the robots.
Oh yeah, sure, I bet.
Hey, don't get me started on the Jetsons maid, okay?
Aunt Fanny in the Robots movie.
Before I watched that movie, I had no idea Robin Williams did a voiceover in that. And like I started listening, no, I had no clue because my daughters wanted to watch it, so I sat down and was watching it with them. And like his character come on screen, he started talking, like my head snapped around. I'm like, oh my god, that's Robin Williams. And this is like years, after he had died. And I'm just like, oh my god, like I thought I was going crazy for a minute. I look over and like, even if you look at the character base, you can tell the character base was the whole thing was based on him and his ability to emote. That's why, hands down, he is one of my biggest idols of all time, living or dead. Because just he was able to mask his depression too well, but he was able to make people happy while doing it.
Well, and he is one of the reasons why I always tell people that when you look at someone, just because they're smiling does not mean that they are okay. Because there are so many people out there, and I'm probably one of the biggest, people. I'm guilty of it, my damn self. You smile, you continue on, you do all of this things.
I just read Christy's comments.
I did too. But we put that mask on because we don't want everyone to see what's going on behind the. My God, Christy.
That's great.
The mask. Now I'm seeing. Now I'm doing I'm visualizing the train scene where everybody's getting out of her rear end.
Right. And just hear the intro to Fat Bottom Girls.
I know. And everybody's getting out of her rear end going, woo, that drive.
That's great.
But it's like, we all put that mask on wherever we're at, whoever we're going to be around. We put that mask on to try to hide what's really going on underneath it. And the longer I talked to you the other day, the more I realized you are really good at doing that. Because you listed everything that, you had going on. And I'm like sitting there, I'm looking at this list going, the fuck?
Well, I learned to hide it well, especially considering a lot of it stems from growing up bisexual and in an era that really wasn't a fan of it like they are today. The closest thing people wanted back then to gay men were the overly gay, like a sitcom guy. Oh my god, like hi, like those type, overly flamboyant.
Well,
And
that's the hardest part growing up when we did. You were either massively straight or flamboyantly gay. There was no middle ground.
right. And I think it's where a lot of my ability, like people see me on screen and then they'll hear me in my lives, and they're like, "Wait, you're bi, dude? I thought you were straight." And I'm like, "Yeah, I play a straight guy really well, don't I?" Fooled people up until high school.
Yeah, I was really good at it until after college.
I didn't do myself any justice. I was talking about that the one day with you about the whole head scar and all that. But yeah, it's a lot of it comes from my dad was really big. One of the guys that was really big on you don't cry, you don't anything. Guys don't cry. You guys just kind of shoulder it and go on and move on. To the point that if my brothers and I were, crying or whatever, it didn't matter what it was, because as you can clearly tell, I grew up a very emo, very emotional kid, and like even breakups in middle school to me were like life ending. You know what I mean? I'd stay in my room for days. I wouldn't talk to people. I'd blast sad music and stuff like that. And he'd make me go out and he'd make me fight my brothers, because guys don't cry. They don't get sad. They don't anything. They just take it and they move it. It becomes either anger or you just kind of put it into something else.
Yeah.
And I think over the years that turned into me being able to mask it, which kind of helps sometimes with my lives though, because there are days like I'll wake up and I'm just so depressed that I don't even want to move out of bed. And I sit there and think, I'm like, there are people on TikTok counting on me that are kind of in the same headspace that need somebody to come on and like, hey, you happy the fuck up. Like,
yeah, and that's where a lot of us all, there are many of us that do that because
COVID,
we know that we may be the only happiness that they see all day long.
My fuzzy is eating cigarette butts. Sorry, quit.
They're good for dogs, not for kitties.
He tried eating a certain substance.
Oh
earlier.
No, that's not good.
Yeah, that was no. I caught him before he got through the bag, and I'm like, dude, that's not a day that you want. Like, your catnip alone makes you sleep all day. Like, I wouldn't see you for like a week. No.
Well, and like, I was reading through all of like the studies and stuff that they've done. Now, we're gonna get into some of it if you don't mind. Which
no,
you and I talk, you don't mind.
No. And anybody that's in the comments that has questions, you're more than welcome to ask anything you'd like.
What was the first mental health issue that you were ever diagnosed with?
Technically, like the
yeah.
I think it would be bipolar. What I come to learn, yeah, because I was in elementary school. And I had acted up so much, and you know how it was back then. The ADHD and lack of focus was just an attitude problem. And they sent me off to the Macacheek, which is the bad kids school over here. Like, literally, like, if you fuck up, this is your last chance before going to JDC. And I may have been maybe 8 or 9 at this point. And they called my parents after 2 weeks of me being there, like, look, kid, you've got it. You can't stay here. Like, we get it. These are bad kids, but you are a bad influence on the rest of these kids. And they took that. Yeah, they took that and put me into therapy for the first time. And that's when they started like making me a guinea pig for all these stuff that people are on nowadays, like Adderall and Seroquel and Ritalin, and I was on the early version of Ritalin where it made you hear voices.
That was not a good one.
No.
Ritalin
I think that's where a lot of my problems started.
Ritalin was really, really bad back in the 80s and 90s. Like, it was.
You got a tick? Ritalin. You can't focus? Ritalin. Your kid acts like an asshole? Ritalin.
They threw Ritalin at everything.
They threw Ritalin out like they've thrown out Z-Packs nowadays for infection.
Yeah. They threw Ritalin at anything and everything that was a mental, like they throw Z-Packs at, everything needs an antibiotic. Um, when they finally realized that you know, what was the first, like, when they realized that you had the bipolar, did they realize that you had other things also? Because I know that you said once you got into the therapy where you were going to school and therapy at the same time,
Mhm.
you know, you saw the therapist that then was just like a total dick.
That was actually a couple years later. That wasn't until I hit middle school.
Okay.
But if you want, I can talk about the Dr. Woodrow thing if you like.
Well, because was there anything in between there
Oh yeah. Oh,
that
there was, yeah.
happened?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Whole lot of them finding different things out, like the ADHD, trying to get me to settle down, and that in and of itself caused its own problems because they didn't have a lot of grasp of ADHD at that point. They were just starting
Yeah.
to understand ADD itself, and they were
Because
trying me on.
was
Go
this
ahead.
the early '90s? Like when they were just
Uh,
starting to realize that ADHD and ADD were two separate.
it would have been like the mid to late 90s,
Yeah, when
I
they were
would
starting
say.
to real. That's right. You're in your 30s, so it was
Mhm.
when they were finally starting to realize that ADD and ADHD were two separate entities.
Right. Right. I was actually one of the kids they used as used in a study to prove the differential between the two. They paired me up with a kid that they diagnosed with regular ADD and like had us do different tasks together, and just to kind of show at its height and flare what the actual difference between ADD and ADHD was.
Yeah, because ADD, they just can't concentrate, whereas hyperactivity, you were running around the freaking ceiling going squirrel, you know, at every thing, whereas they were just going squirrel.
Kind of, yeah, basically. It was like there's a lot that goes into it. That's the biggest issue.
Yeah.
Where it's concerned is the focus. You're either not focused at all on any one thing, or you're hyper fixated. Which
Or you're
I have a lot of
hyper-fixated.
issue with hyperfixation, especially when I'm gaming.
Oh, yeah, because, like, as a mother looking in, I can tell the difference, because, like, I have one who has ADD, and then I have one who has ADHD. And, like, you can, like, Joey, when he can get out of focus. And it's, like, off, you know, whereas Blake, he is either hyper-focused or he can't get focused.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with Joseph, if he's not focused, I can lead him back to it. And he'll you know, he's easy to get back on it. Blake, forget it. If he's not focusing, he's not focusing.
Well, that's like I was saying. That's part of the reason for my whiteboard that I was showing you that I have is there are days that I can plan tasks out and I get them done. I just get them handled, you know, no problem, no issue. And then there are days like I can't remember for 1 second to the next what it was I was doing. So I've got to put it on the board so I can look up there and go, oh yeah, I needed to make content today, or oh yeah, that's right, I'm supposed to work on the podcast today, or you know, I'm supposed to do this, or like it's gotten to the point before where I've had to remind myself to shower because I was just that unfocused.
Yeah.
I was looking to think of somebody else take off.
Yeah, Jill had to go.
Oh, have a good day, Joe. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, and it really is that's one of the hardest parts about it with ADHD. And one thing I did, I'm going to share this because I don't think people understand. When it comes to ADHD, and this is what's so weird about it, is ADHD, did you know that ADHD is more common in men than it is in women?
Yep.
It is 9 times more common in men than it is in women. Which I was like, wow. But men are less common to ask for help than women when it comes to ADHD.
Because we're taught not to.
Yeah, you're taught not to. And I was like...
Well, and that's like I was saying, as it was with, you know, my mental health stuff early on, was my mom was on board trying to get it fixed, trying to get it figured out. And to this day, like to this very day, my dad will still tell you that any issues I have is all in my head. It's something I should be dealing with myself, not be medicated, not be talking to people. That my favorite thing that he says is they're millennial issues because they're issues that didn't exist when he was a kid. I'm like, no, they did exist. They just weren't recognized. Right.
Well, and that's one of the things that you find, especially in this day and age. And see, and that's my biggest thing is what I was talking with my husband. And this is something you'll find very prevalent, especially in the veteran community. And we're finding it, and it's starting to clock over into the civilian community. But it started in the veteran community. It's because more veterans are starting to talk because they're realizing if we don't start talking about it, we're gonna die. We're gonna die, and we're gonna be gone. If we don't start talking,
that I'm trying to break on TikTok.
Yeah, if we don't start talking about it, we're not gonna be here. And so more men are starting to talk about it because as veterans, if we don't get, my age group, the 30s and 40s, which you're in that too.
Right.
If we don't get the 30s and 40-year-old veterans talking, we're going to die. We're not going to be here. We need to talk about this because more and more people are dying by suicide, dying with these mental illnesses that are 100% copable. We can deal with them, whether it's through medication, whether it's through talk therapy, whether it's through, peer mentoring, whatever. Let's stand up and do this because we can. And just like, okay, squirrel, I saw it. I watched your eyes do it.
My cat caught my attention. He's running around the studio, but he doesn't run like a normal cat, like a normal kitten runs. He bunny hops, which I still can't figure out why. And it's the most adorable thing in the world. It's part of the reason I don't get like my new music worked on and finished half the time is because I'll be sitting there working on it and he'll come bounding across and I'll just just get stuck watching. Like, fuck, what was I doing?
We have a sugar glider that does that. He bunny hops across our shoulders and like up and down our arms. He'll just bunny hop. He just like bing, 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 and he's only like this big.
Well, you've seen Kovu. Kovu sits on my shoulders.
But it's like, we've got these vets that are opening up and they're starting to get the civilians to open up. And it's like, dudes, we've got to do something.
Well, I think vets opening up helps because when it comes down to it as a society, they're seen as like the peak
tough man.
Right. Especially for guys, even if you don't like the structure of the military or what it stands for, you still respect the hell out of a soldier, especially a Marine or, someone who's Navy SEALs or something like that. And when these guys are coming out, right, and these guys are coming out going, no, dude, I talk about my feelings in therapy like every week. You've got, civilian guys going, wait, that's okay? We're allowed to do that? Like, I'm not a pussy if I do that? Absolutely. Yeah, I'll go talk to a therapist if you think it's the right thing.
I talked to my battle buddy about what's going on in my head. What? I can talk to a friend about it? Dude, this big old strong guy.
Since when?
Yeah, it's like this big old strong guy, and then you walk walk in and there's these two big old strong guys sitting at a bar, both looking down and out, and they're talking about something, and it's like I can show an emotion that's not anger or happiness.
Right.
The fuck?
Yes, he's named after Kovu from Lion King too.
It's like, what the hell? I can do that?
Well, and that's one of my favorite memories I think I have, because not a lot of people have good memories of therapy or talking about stuff. And one of my favorite memories, I had just turned 18 and moved up into adult counseling. And I'm sitting in this circle of guys, and they're all sitting here talking. And out of everybody in the room, I'm just sitting here talking about, yeah, I was depressed this day, or I was this, or I was that. And they're like, dude, I don't understand how it's so easy. And like at the end of the hour, most of them had opened up, and like all the guys are crying and shit, looking at each other, like jabbing each other, like, shut up, you say anybody outside, this didn't happen. You say something and I'll deny it. And like, I'm standing over there getting something some tea to drink, and this big black dude, like just big as a brick shit house, like 6'3", 6'4", comes over, and he's got like the tears. Yeah. Streaming down his face, and you could tell, like, normally this guy outside, like, if you met him anywhere else, he would be the scariest motherfucker in the world. Like, he's the guy you look at the bar, and they go, that's the bouncer. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna behave. Yeah, I'll behave. And he's just sitting there, and he just kind of, like, puts his arms out. I'm like, come here, bro. And I give this big dude a hug. He this dude's so freaking big. I'm gone. One of my buddies took a picture of it, and all you could see was my legs because he'd give me a hug, and he's like, dude, he goes, a lot of things you were talking about, I went through as a kid, and seeing you talk about it kind of helped, and I just want to come over and I want to thank you. And dude, it's absolutely no problem. I gave my cell phone number. I'm like, hey, dude, if you need to talk, I'm here. Yada yada yada. He's like, well, I'm not sure what I could help you with, but you ever need somebody's ass kicked, don't tell them where we met each other, but I got your back. And it was just one of the greatest things to see a dude that big, just that vulnerable for that split second. Showed me, as long as you show somebody it's okay and truly don't judge them and just let them talk, let them get what's in there. I don't care if they're telling you, obviously you should be a little worried, but if they're telling you, dude, I fantasize about killing people. Okay, cool. What caused that? Now, you should probably alert the cops because that's not good, but let them get it out so you have a better understanding, because that's the best weapon in mental health, is understanding and being there for someone and just listening.
And being non-judgmental, because maybe he's thinking about it, but they're not going to do it. Because God knows, okay, and I'm going to be the first one. I will step up and say it. I have thought many a time about killing somebody. Have I done it? No, because I know it's wrong. Because I know it's wrong. I don't know how many times I have looked at my husband sound asleep and gone, God, I could snap your neck right the fuck now. Because I'm, God knows, I've had a bad dream and he was cheating on me. I'll snap your damn neck right here, right now. And then it's like, no, I don't want to go to jail. I like terrible in prison orange. Type thing. But sometimes you just want to go on a homicidal, I totally understand people wanting to get on top of the post office and pick people off some days.
Oh, yeah.
I know it's wrong, so I don't do it. I'm not psychotic, but I understand their thought process.
Well, and it's kind of like a meme I seen a couple months ago. It said, being a kid is, loving the Batman and thinking he's the greatest guy in the world. Growing up is realizing the Joker was right all along.
Well, and, even Tiffany says, talking to someone who's non-judgmental when you're going through something can actually...
Oh, yeah.
I know for me, I have people who don't judge me. When I say, oh my God, I'm ready to kill somebody, they're like, okay, who, why, do you have a plan? And usually once I get from the who to the why, I'm like, I know I don't have a plan. What the fuck? Do you think I'm psycho? I just want to do it. If I plan it out, that's premeditation, and they can put me in jail for that. I can't claim insanity. It's like, and it's one of those things.
Well, it's kind of like people ask me all the time, where do you get the idea for these different OCs? Because I've got 6 or 7 different ones at this point. And I'm like, honestly, the best way I could explain it is each one is a different piece of my personality. I get, like Valak. Valak is my protective instinct, but he's also my aggressive. Whereas Gunnar is my Viking because, he's the Norse part of my life and my heritage, and a protector as well. And just each individual thing, like Arg. Arg is my batshit crazy asshole. He's the guy you don't want to piss off that's sitting at the bar, because he'll light the bar up just to, he's the one that will cut his nose off just to spite his face and then glue it back on.
Well, and like Tiffany said, she was having a tough time earlier today, and I told her, hey, let them think what they need to think. We know the truth.
Well, that's kind of like how I started singing on TikTok in my lives. That actually started helping somebody out in one of my live streams. Is because I generally don't like to sing publicly. At least I've gotten used to it now, because I had a bad experience with America's Got Talent that kind of shot my confidence into the shitter. But she was having a really bad day, and I was like, fuck, what can I do to help out? I don't like people being bummed in my live. That's one of the main things. That's kind of, what we connected on in my one live was I don't like people being upset in my live. I don't care if I got to stop the entire live just to make you laugh. You're going to fucking laugh because there's no sad people in my life. I don't care if you just walked in and found your best friend sleeping with your ex-husband, they're both dead. I will make you fucking laugh by the end of this lie because that's my mission. That's what I'm here for, is to make people happy. And I was talking to her, and she's like, well, I really like this song. And it was a song that was within my range and a song I knew really well. So I started playing it, and I started singing for her. And the more I started singing, the more she started to relax and calm down and kind of talk about what was going on. And I realized, I'm like, man, the more I do this, the more people come in, the more people are willing to talk to me, or at least just sit here and vibe and tell me their issues, whether they want a solution for it or not. They just kind of come in, hey, man, I'm having a shitty day. Thanks for being live. No problem, man. Is there a song I can sing for you to make your day a little bit better? It's what helps. Every little bit helps. Regardless if you think you're not doing something big, every little bit helps.
Now, I did have a question, because we had talked about the ADHD. Are you now on ADHD medication, or do you just... I know that you do your own special thing. We're not going to mention it. I'm sure everyone can, put two and two together. Do you take pharmaceutical medication?
Currently, no, because I have, because of what we were talking about with the doctor, I have a very large distrust of doctors, especially because most of the medications they give you nowadays I've never heard of, and I have a very big trust issue when it comes to medical doctors. Like, if I go to the doctor for a stomach ache to the ER, I take my fiance with me just so I've got somebody there with me who can tell me, okay, yeah, this is why they're giving you this medication. This is why they're giving you this. This is necessary. Go with the doctors. You'll be fine, just because I have such a high distrust. But I will say that is my way of medicating. And to those suffering with ADHD, depression, any type of anxiety, paranoia, it definitely helps.
Now, we as an open disclosure, we do not say yay or nay against.
Oh, I'm not against it, for sure.
We are not pro or con pharmaceutical or natural,
herbal,
or herbal medications. I know for me, I take pharmaceutical. I have a doctor that gives me medication for my anxiety, for my depression, because I cannot take herbal medication because I'm allergic to it. Now, it works for him. It may not work for you. It may not. Have
you tried CBD, or is it
yes,
is it all of it?
It's all of it.
Oh, that's shitty.
I can't breathe. It shuts down the entire workings of me.
My brother's like that.
With Tiffany, she uses both. They both work for her.
See?
Now.
Same.
Now, with you, Chris, do you want to share your story of why you have distrust issues?
I can.
I mean, it's entirely up to you. We will put this disclaimer. The person he is talking about has been prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Oh, to the fullest extent. I think she's still
no longer practices in any state in the United States.
How about this? What I'll do is I'll explain it, but I won't disclose the hospital. To kind of
no hospital. Let's not. We won't do that.
When I was to those who weren't in the sneak peek live on Monday, in my younger days, it was found out that I was bisexual while being on the football team, and like the hospital won't disclose the school because they're a lot different now. But the guys beat me, basically within an inch of my life. Banged my head off the locker to the point they split my head open. Like, I've got a scar up here on my forehead that I'll wear for the rest of my life. And it just got to the point where I was too anxious, too scared, too anything to go to school. So they put me in said hospital's treatment program they had at the time, which is basically where I would go to school at the hospital while receiving treatment at the same time. It wasn't exactly an inpatient thing. It was kind of, I think they called it like semi-inpatient, where I could go home, but most of my days were spent there. They put me on Seroquel for what I was led to believe was sleep aid. In reality, what it was for was an antipsychotic. And this is around the same time they started looking into the MPD and, DID now, the MPD and all of that, the manic depression, so on stuff. And it was fine at first. It kind of helped me sleep, and a lot of my issues stemmed from not getting a lot of sleep at night from insomnia. And it went great. The more I talked to her, everything was going fine. And for whatever reason, that I come to find out later, she had diagnosed me in herself, in her head, not in her notes, but in her head, as being a potential serial killer because of some of the things that I had talked to her about. Because there are a lot of there are some things in your head you shouldn't share with people, but it's good to get it out. Let's just put it that way. And at that point, I was a very rageful, very vengeful,
hormonal preteen.
Yeah, I think I was maybe 12 or 13 at this point.
Yeah, so your hormones were peaking.
Yeah, I said some things.
Full force.
I said some things that were, if you take them, you could probably make a movie out of them, a horror movie, like Jason Voorhees.
Not only that, but to preface this, he also has very high functioning Asperger's,
which was not a thing at that point.
Yeah, which at that time Asperger's was not even something that was on the spectrum. They didn't even know what it really was there. And the fact that most people with Asperger's, if you do not know, you do not understand social cues or emotional. You can pretty much tell someone you're gonna, that you want to kill someone and be joking and do it straight face.
Right. And I think that was her biggest issue, was I was undiagnosed Asperger's at that point. And I don't know, for those people who do know anybody that has, autism, especially Asperger's, one of the biggest issues is eye contact. They can't make eye contact with you. Like if you were to even knowing you as well as I know you, even meeting you in person tomorrow, I don't look people in the eye. But the caveat that I found around that is if I look at somebody like right here, directly in the middle of their forehead, it looks to them like I'm looking them dead in the eye. So she took my callous nature with saying things, along with the lack of eye contact and a lot of these. And I look at it now as an adult, knowing what I know about serial killers, given that I run a podcast about them. And I can kind of see where she came to the logic that she did. But her her way of dealing with it was not the right way. Basically, what she did is she upped me. I started out 25 milligrams. She bumped me up to 50. And then one day she decided to jump me from 50 to 100. And anybody who doesn't know or has never been on Seroquel, what it does is it takes you and it lulls you to sleep. Basically, it's got a sleeping pill kind of effect to where it lulls you into sleep, and then it eventually allows you to. For those who are of the psychotic nature, it keeps the voices quiet so you can focus and sleep. And But anyway, basically, you slowly drift off into sleep. It's kind of like melatonin, basically, but
with only on steroids.
Yeah. But I was used to it.
At high doses, Seroquel, it doesn't lull you.
No.
It kind of goes, you get this very.
It's like you intentionally walked up and pissed off Mike Tyson, and he punches you in the face.
Yeah. It's like a massive drop off into a chasm,
Right, 25 to 50 is still it's still some adjustment. The jump from 50 to 100 was pretty bad.
That was like sending you into the Grand Canyon.
Yeah. So I took my meds after the switch, and I'm laying there, and I'm on the phone with my current girlfriend, who would eventually go on to be my ex-wife. And she's talking to me, and I didn't start feeling right. I started telling her, like, hey, something's off. I don't feel right. I can't move anything. And they ended up rushing me to the hospital, and I was so lethargic at that point, I literally couldn't even piss myself. They had to put a catheter in. And they basically said that I had almost had I actually went to sleep, had I not been on the phone with her and I just drifted off to sleep, I'd have died that night, and they wouldn't have found me until the next morning. And what they found out is she had jumped my dose in an attempt to make exactly that happen. Was that, she knew I was a loner. I didn't have a lot of friends. There weren't a lot of people that I talked to. She knew I only had a girlfriend that I talked to right before bed when I took my medication. So I'm thinking she thought it would wear down a little slower than it did and wouldn't impact my system as quick. Because honestly, had I not taken it when I did, and been on the phone 5 minutes longer, she'd had no idea.
Oh my God.
But they did end
And
up finding out that she did that because she was trying, as she put it, she was trying to save the world from their serial killer.
my gosh. And see, and that's something, one of the things, and this was something that I was looking into because you said, you know, you had Asperger's and possibly autism. One of the craziest things is even now I was looking to try to find some kind of, you know, percentages of like people. Love you, Tiffany. You know, there's no. Do you know that there is no conclusive data for people in that, you know, your age, yours and my age range have for Asperger's?
Yeah, because it really wasn't. Like,
They have
well, it's like I
nothing.
was telling you. The only reason I found out is because I got with my current fiance that I'm with now, and my stepdaughter, who I love with every bit of my heart, has a lot of special needs issues, and Asperger autism is one of those. And we were talking to her doctor one day, and I was kind of explaining some certain things, like, oh, you know, that's coincidental. I kind of do that, or I kind of do that, or you know, he noticed subtle nuances, like when I talk to people, you know, when I was talking to him that I was looking up here, because he's trained to notice that shit.
Yeah.
And he's like, have you ever been diagnosed with Asperger's autism? I'm like, I have no idea what the hell that is. Like, that sounds like a Good Burger sandwich. What the hell?
Yeah, right.
And he explained it to me. As he explained it to me, he started like, he's like, I can't officially diagnose you because, you know, you're too late on in age. You know, I'm a kid's doctor, blah, 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 blah. He goes, but what I can do is refer you to a friend. He goes, but I'm pretty sure you have youth, basically childhood Asperger's autism, and it's just continues. You've gotten older and has become unchecked because you didn't know it was a thing. And we realized, as soon as we seen that, we realized that was the root of a lot of my issues and a lot of the diagnoses I had. And
Yeah, and it's crazy to think about that because, you know, how many people our ages have gone on through life without.
ever knowing
Oh,
truly why they acted the way they
yeah.
did.
Oh, here we go. Some professionals surmise that at least 1 in every 250 people have an Asperger profile. In the late 1990s, the National Institute of Child Health and Mental Development estimated that 1 in 500 people have some form of AS.
Yep.
And it's crazy.
Especially when you tack everything else on top of it. I'm a statistical anomaly.
Yeah. And well, and it's crazy because most of us were not diagnosed.
Mm-mm.
Now, one of the things, and this is okay. I do want to talk about this, and this is because I grew up with a parent who had it, and talking with you as someone who has had it, my mother. I grew up with a mother who is a paranoid schizophrenic with multiple personalities.
Mm.
My mother was not in check until I was much older. I love her to pieces. Now, with you have multiple personalities.
I have no idea what you're
You,
talking about. Don't say that. Who said that? What? You wouldn't honestly believe how many people that I talk to about that believe that's exactly how it is. Like that I just sit here, you know, when I'm by myself and I sit here and talk to myself like, God, that's such a great content idea. I should do that. Yeah, that's such a great idea. No, I think that's fucking ridiculous. Don't do that. And then there are days that it's kind of like that, but it's not like you see on TV. People are like sitting here
yeah,
fucking talking
well,
to themselves.
I know that that's not how it's like. Because, I mean, like, I...
It is kind of, but it's more internal than it is
Yeah.
external. And that's why I love TV shows that show, like, MPD and stuff like that nowadays, is because, you know, they always show it as someone who's very outwardly or, like, or you'll get, like, the people who have multiple personality disorder and they have the different variations of themselves, which I suffer from. I have different personalities and different archetypes, which this is, for the record, this is just strictly me. This is Chris you're talking to. Nobody else has the light or anything, but...
Nobody else has the stick today.
Yeah, they think it's like I don't know if you've ever seen Split. But they think it's like that, where like 1 second you're talking, and then your loving personality comes out, and it's just you just become so much like it's instantaneous, or like you can see it. Like there are certain ones of mine, my aggressive alter that I call Alpha, and just because that's what he likes being called. He's very, the change is very different. You see how I'm sitting here talking now. You're very calm, very relaxed, he's very rigid. He's very rigid. He's very stoic. He's very aggressive, and everything he says, his voice, it takes on a whole different actual physical change. I've had people talk to me, dude, you were doing this, you were doing that. I'm like, no, that wasn't me. That was Alpha. Like, did my eyes look like this? Did I look like this? Did it, this, that, and the other? I'm like, yeah. They're like, yeah, that's exactly. I'm like, yeah, dude, that wasn't me. You saw a split. Way to go. Congratulations.
Congratulations. You've met my other person.
Right. You pissed me off to open up the door to another personality. Here's your prize.
Yeah, well, and it's like with Christy, because my sister, who is also my secretary, Christy, she also has DID, and she has who we call Kitty, and she's a little girl. She gets super excited, and she went happy because she got cookies.
That's like Senpai. I actually have a personality that's just like that. He's very loud, very positive,
She is like Kitty is one of those. You want to protect her. She's really cute. She's sweet. She's bubbly.
Right. But also very emotional. Will cry at the drop of a fucking dime. Yeah. Oh, yep. Senpai's same way.
I mean, she's hilarious when she's in her happy, but she gets super, like the world comes crashing down when she's in that one, and something like you just tell her no, you can't have a cookie, and you think the end of the world just fell around her head. And it's funny because she has a 5-year-old son, and it's like those two. It's like watching them both, and it's like. And you wonder where your son got it. Hello, Christy. It's like, hello.
Well, that's like people get on me all the time, dude. They're like, dude, you act like such a child. You act like a child. You're too old to be dressing up like this. Or, my kids absolutely love the fact that I do cosplay and stuff like that. Like their costumes, their Halloween costumes when they come down here are always on point. I don't do them because my fiance is my makeup artist. I don't know how many times I gotta explain it to people before they'll believe me. There's two things about my content people have never believed. One, I don't do my own makeup because I'm makeup stupid. And two, that my fiance actually more often than not produces and directs my thirst traps.
Did you read Christy's latest comment?
My husband is bought bags of candy to get her comment. See, it works.
Well, and it's really funny because I have what I call Priya, but I only act that way. That's like, how would I say this? I do not have DID. That is just me being total brat.
Yeah.
I'm just being a little kid because I want to act like a little fucking kid.
Well, see, and there lies the difference too. Is people, who get diagnosed as having MPD because certain aspects of their life are different. Have to sit back and look, do you have MPD, or are you, in the BDSM community what's considered a little or a middle?
Because I'm a little in the BDSM community. I'm a little, and everybody's like, oh, well, you have, DID. No, bitch, I am totally in control of this.
I'm a very interesting concept in the BDSM world. I'm what's considered a daddy dom, but I also have little tendencies.
What is DDLG? Excuse me. Priya is a little.
Yes, she's right. That's exactly what that is. DDLG, daddy dom, little girl.
Oh.
DDLG. It's exactly what that sounds like. My fiance is a little. Well, she's a middle, but she has little tendencies.
When I am Priya, I'm a little, like very little. Christy, you're horrible. And that's what's so funny about it is because people, and I've noticed this especially in the BDSM community, a lot of people in the BDSM community, we all have our little, what I like to say, screw loose.
Yeah. I think it makes me a better parent, to be honest.
honestly, it really, and because we understand that little, like my kids understand when Priya is out to play, I am not mom.
Well, it's like I've always been very open with my kids about
Yeah.
my mental issues and stuff that I'm dealing with. Like they understand, if they see with the explosive temper, they understand that I'm not upset to that degree because it's just the way I am. They understand that my brain takes small things that like something they would find just insignificant, and my brain doesn't go through that. It's just immediately from 1 second to the next. Like I don't care if you cut me off in traffic, I'm the guy that lobs a freaking tire iron through your back window.
Well, and people don't understand that for us. Some people, well, exactly, Christy. Sometimes, for a lot of people, the BDSM community has become therapeutic because a lot of times that's where we find the no judgment.
We'll see, and the problem with that is though is just as much as you have a no judgment zone with the BDSM community, it can also be just as toxic. Because with the existence of fake doms and fake subs, there's been several women I have met over my life that are oh, I'm a sub, I'm this, I'm that. I'm like, all right, and when it comes, get down to why you're doing that too hard, or you're this, or you're that, I'm like, no, then you're not what you claim that you are. Because if you were, you wouldn't be. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Everybody's got limits, but when you say one thing, like if you're a chick that says why I like to be choked, and then all you get is the hand here, and you're like, oh my god, that's too hard. I'm like, then you don't like being choked. You just did it to try and attract a guy.
Like with me, I like the hand being like right here because I don't like to be choked. Right. And I've set that down. Look, I don't like to be choked.
You don't like the choking, but more as you like the fight against pressure, basically.
Exactly. And that was one of the things, because like I've come up against people that are like, I want to beat the shit out of you. No, bitch, keep walking. This girlfriend, no. I've had, no, my childhood would not allow me to do that. And people are like, oh, well, your childhood couldn't have been that bad. We are not going to, that is for my brain and my brain alone.
Yeah, that's where a lot of my PTSD comes from. But if you give me just a second, I have to go to the little streamer's room, and I will be right back.
The little streamer's room? That was kind of cute.
That's what I say in my lives all the time. Like, guys, because it's a lot more PC, especially because I get a lot of kids in my lives. It's a lot more PC that say, hey, I got to go take a piss. I'll be right back. And if you say I got to hit the head, most people have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. Like, I know but...
I was getting ready to say, hello?
Well, the only reason I'm aware of it is because I had military family and I was in JROTC in high school, but we can get to that in just a second. I shall return.
Okay.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, Christy, where did you find the last bit of information at? I want that website. Yeah, no. Mine says Nene MF. The one about the Asperger's. These ones. Oops. The last three you sent me about the Asperger's, the CDC, and all that stuff. No, the DID, I know you got it from the Cleveland Clinic, but the other ones. The last one is for DID? Oh, okay, thank you. Excuse me. Okay, you know what it sounds like he's doing right there? Am I the only one that can hear that? I should have made him mute his mic.
Hello.
Welcome back. Although, I don't know what you were doing, but man, it sounded dirty.
I just came back in the room.
Well, whoever was in the room was doing something that did not sound under 18.
Oh, my house is haunted. No, really, it is. It's just me and my daughter in here right now. She's not even in the room.
Your ghost was enjoying himself.
Doesn't surprise me. Literally, this house is actually on it. I've had several paranormal groups come through here, and they're like, "Great, it's perfect for you." Because one of the guys I know, he knows me from when I used to do it. And he goes, "Isn't it perfect for you that you live in a haunted house?" I'm like, I did live in a old funeral home growing up, so I mean,
Hey.
But anyway, where were we?
Where were we? Well, I know that you said that you were manic depressive. Now, are you bipolar or manic depressive?
Both.
Because those are both the same on certain aspects.
Both, technically.
Are you more manic or are you more depressive?
Actually, honestly, it's more manic more often than not. That's where a lot of the high energy and all that in my lives comes from. Is more often than not, it's just a manic episode.
Well, because I was looking, I did some research yesterday, and holy shit, it opened my eyes. Well,
okay, hold on. Because I know you did all the research. Do you want to run down the list real quick so everybody knows what potentially we're talking about?
We have Asperger's, ADHD, anxiety, bipolar, MPD, which is also DID, because it falls under the DID
umbrella
spectrum, which I think is a bunch of hooey. I think that's all of them, isn't it?
Body dysmorphia.
Oh,
paranoid personality disorder.
Well, that can also fall into the DID because that does kind of make you.
Oh no, they define that it's so far enough because I have days where I wake up and I literally don't trust anyone. Like I don't even trust my dog.
Ah. Okay, so he's also paranoid.
And the herbal remedies help with that as well, ironically. Huh?
Should we have schizophrenic in there too? Jeez,
actually, that is on there. Actually.
Oh my lord!
I was reading off of a list that I had that I've written down from like all my paperwork and stuff over the years. I'm just sitting here I'm like every diagnosis I've ever had. Let's see. That's why I said when I sent you the message, I was like, give me a bit because I had to find all that stuff and I fell asleep finding it. So I just started like going down through the list, writing. That's like shit. I'm like I forgot this, or hey, I forgot that. One of the biggest ones I get shit on about is the body dysmorphia because people are like, dude, look at you. How can you have body dysmorphia? Seriously?
It's not. It's more common than you think. It really is. And people are like, people do not understand. And the weirdest thing is skinny people get it, but so do fat people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really strange because, and I'm going to say this because I have a form of it also, but mine is no matter how much weight I've lost, because Christy can tell you, I lost 210 pounds. And even at after losing 210 pounds, I still couldn't see that I didn't look good, but I didn't look, because I was, to me, I was too skinny. But I didn't think I looked good, and I probably never will think I look good, just because my body dysmorphia, things just didn't look proportioned right.
Right, and that's kind of like the same with me. It's like people look, I get people all the time, well, you're hot, you're this, you're that, and I'm like, I get that, and I understand that you're seeing me from your perspective, but when I look in the mirror, I still see the gangly, nerdy kid that got his ass kicked in school, that had the oversized My Chemical Romance t-shirt and the eyeliner and the friggin' spiked bracelets and the trip pants. I still see that kid, but even at 31 years old, that's still who I see when I look in the mirror because to me, that's still who I am. And everything I
Exactly.
do every day is to try and change that. It doesn't matter how much you try to change it, you'll still see that person, unless you can
Well,
find a way past it.
and once, like even for me, I knew, that no matter how much weight I lose, my brain isn't gonna look in the mirror and go,
Yep.
"Oh, you look great."
You
You know,
can know that you look great. I mean, you can know in your mind, hey, I look great, I look fantastic. I've like, and with your thing, I've dropped this much weight, but in your brain, you're going, it's still not enough. It's still not
yeah.
enough. It's still not. Oh yeah, I've hurt myself at the gym before doing too many like pull-ups and stuff like that because I'm like, just one more, just one more, just one more, just one more, just one more.
Well, and even my head, just one more pound. I need to lose
Yep.
just one more pound. Need to lose just one more pound.
See, with
And
you,
it
it's
was like,
losing. With me, it's gaining.
you know, well, and but you were, and I was always, I want that high school body back.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, I had the high school body. The only thing is the boobs weren't back where they were supposed to be. I'm 44 fucking years old. I'm lucky my boobs still are even up, in any resemblance. And it's like, but I want my high school
She's
body
like, I'm
back.
happy they still look at people.
Hell no, they look at the floor. Yeah, I'm just lucky they still go into a bra, and not my freaking underwear. You know,
That's like my nephew all the time. Like my nephew Hendrix, he'll be walking with me and he'll just kind of look at me because I'll stop and I'll kind of do that thing guys do where we wiggle, we have to adjust. And he'll look at me and he's like, Uncle Sissy, why do you do that? Like, because I'm a little uncomfortable, bud. You'll find out when you're older. Mine don't get uncomfortable like that. I'm like, trust me. When you hit to about where you're about
when
30
they
years old
fall.
and they've been doing nothing but growing for that time frame, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about.
And Christy's right. It's that little voice in the back of my head that everybody's been
Yep.
telling me all those years, all that negative junk. And it's just like with you. You've heard all that negative junk through school. I've heard all the negative junk through,
Well,
most of my
that's like
adult
with
life.
the body dysmorphia with with being a professional wrestler and being as small as I am, I get a lot of shit. I tell people all the time, like, I'm in training for pro wrestling. They're like, really? Yeah, okay. Look at you. I'm like, no, seriously. And eventually that got into my head and that started causing issues, which is why I had to take a break because I was overdoing it, trying to be the person everybody thought that I was supposed to be, telling them this stuff, not looking at it. There's like this whole industry of guys that are my size. All I had in my head was I'm not big enough, I'm not strong enough, I'm not, I don't have the muscle that I need, I don't look this way or I don't look that way. He may always have a high pitched voice. You never know. Look at Bieber. I mean, I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
I'm sorry, but Liam is always going to sound like that, sweetheart. Liam.
It may work out in his favor. You never know. I was high pitched when I was a kid, and I had a high pitched voice. I started singing Backstreet Boys and stuff, and it got me girlfriends. So he may parlay into something that'll help him. You never know.
Lilim is my buddy. Lilim is my buddy. I love him to pieces. Don't knock on him.
She said no.
Lilim is my buddy.
Okay. I won't use Bieber. If anyone's ever seen old Mickey Mouse house footage or a Mickey Musketeer footage, Justin Timberlake had a very high pitched voice as a kid.
Well, okay.
And he still hasn't grown into it.
Look at Harry Styles.
Yeah.
I mean, hello, listen to Watermelon Sugar right now. It's a hit. I don't know why, but it's a hit.
Billy Gilman.
Okay, what's his name? From freaking North Carolina. I Love You This Big is the song that I'm
Scotty
playing
McCreery.
in my head. There you go. Thank you.
That's another artist that I sing.
I mean, hello. Those guys have all got some really high pitched voices.
Hell, we wouldn't even have glam rock if it wasn't for guys with high voices.
Right?
I love glam rock.
Although, I do have to say this. I bet you that we could do Liam's makeup up and he could, really rock it. That boy has got some chiseled cheekbones.
Deck him out like Axl Rose, man. There you go. There's Halloween.
Hell no. Deck him out like James Charles. That kid is gorgeous. I am sorry, but Liam is a hot little toddy. That little kid is gorgeous.
So you gotta watch out for that. My parents' friends said the same thing about me, and they were right. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey,
See, that's also how you can tell someone with body dysmorphia is displacement humor like that. Like, oh yeah, no.
No, Lillian's a gorgeous kid. So all of her kids are absolutely gorgeous. I mean, they are. They really are. And that's one of the craziest things is, we look around now and like I've taught my kids that if you're gonna, I guess us, because we've always been told don't talk about what's going on in here.
Mm.
I know I prepared my kids. Look, if you've got a problem, talk about it.
He's also
Get
a
it
gentleman.
out.
Look, he's in there like swimwear. As long as you put him in somewhere he can sing or like act early with a high pitched voice, and he's got a he's got the whole what they call the Superman face, and he's a gentleman. Man, you're gonna be in trouble when he starts dating.
Oh Lord, that boy is gonna pull in more hoo ha than.
Trust me, no.
His Aunt Penny has made sure he's gonna pull in the hoo ha. Trust me. But that's one of.
Ruh-roh. I'm not sure what happened. Hi guys. I don't know if you guys can still see and hear me or not. I'm not sure what happened to Penny. There she is.
What the heck was that?
I have no idea.
I don't either.
I was just kind of sitting here like.
Yeah, my stuff just like shut down. At least it came right back in.
Weird.
But that was that's one of the things is, we have to look at is, our future generations. Like we've got to teach them, hey, look, if it's going on here, you got to get it out here.
Well, and that's why I've tried using my TikTok platform to, try and show kids, especially young boys and stuff like that. Like they look at me like, this dude's cool. He's this, he's that. He's laid back. He can sing or whatever. They look at me about that they like, and they see me in my lives talking about my issues. And they're like, wait a minute. It's kind of like what I was talking about Marines and stuff earlier. That you see somebody that you idolize or have respect for talk about stuff, it makes it a hell of a lot easier. And that's kind of the stigma I'm trying to break, is to show them like it is okay to talk. It is okay to tell people how you feel.
Yeah, that's one thing I've been breaking, like especially with my kids. I broke it with my kids, and I've been trying to help her. Like Christy's 3 little boys, I love them to pieces, and they all know if they can't go to mommy or daddy, they can always come to Aunt Penny. Because Aunt Penny won't tell mommy and daddy unless there's a problem. Something she should go to mommy and daddy about.
Right.
And they can always come, trust me. And I do it with all 4 of her kids, but especially the boys, because a lot of times it's easier to talk to an adult that isn't invested in every day.
Right.
And sometimes even my boys have told him, look, if you don't want to talk to an adult, we're not adults. Even though her kids are like, but you are adults.
Right.
Because they're big, my kids are 20 and, soon to be 20 and soon to be 17. To her kids, they are essentially adults.
Right.
But it's like, dudes, it's okay to, talk to them. And that's what we have to do, is we have to be like, okay, look, I'm here. I'm mentally, I have mental illness.
Sorry, I wasn't meaning to laugh. No, I know it was shitty timing. I just read a message and it had me cracking up. Sorry. My ex-wife. Oh, go ahead.
Sometimes we need adultier adults. There are more adultier. Yeah, I'm not really an adult sometimes.
I apologize. That lasted a horrible time.
Oh, you're fine.
Let's just say I just seen something hilarious. My ex-wife takes very risque photos and posts them in a group as part of like a body inspiration kind of thing. Which I can understand. Whatever. I've told her, you got to watch that because it can go badly. But apparently, someone screenshotted one of her pictures and it's being posted everywhere.
Oh, oopsie doodle.
Like, I'm like, that's shitty, but at the same time.
Told you!
But I'm not allowed to say anything because, I gotta be the one that's like, looking at my daughter is like, yeah, you're not supposed to act like that. Like, be like the stoic, responsible parent. Like, yeah, that's not how you should act. In my head, I'm going,
Yeah, you have to be that parent that just kind of. See, that's what I love. I'm gonna say this, and it's gonna sound awful.
coming
The
from
best.
someone who can make just about every statement sound dirty, you're going to be fine.
No. That's what I do absolutely enjoy about my kids' father being dead. I don't have to worry about that shit.
Not gonna lie, I braced myself for a lot of stuff, but that was not one of them.
That is the best part about it. That's kind of the silver lining. I don't have to ever get the I'm a better parent than you.
Oh, I get that all the time.
I am the only parent. So
Oh, we compete all the time. Like she got a new house and set their own individual rooms up for them. And I don't really have the room to do that here, so they all kind of share rooms. So I took our big ass dining room, made it a big play room with their own Xbox and their own flat screen on the wall. And then they've got their own bedroom where they can put all kinds of stuff with their own air conditioner. Like I don't even have an air conditioner in my bedroom. And I put one in theirs. Like they're sitting there telling their mom about it. I'm just sitting here looking at her like,
what?
say something, say something.
Come on.
You're not gonna say anything because you want to be the bigger adult. Go ahead. Good. She's just like, that's cool. I appreciate. It's like I love how as adults we can communicate saying things without saying the actual words. Like
With the
she's sitting there
eyes.
listening. Right. Like they'll sit there and read that stuff off to her, and she's like, oh, that's cool. Like she's like her whole face says, that's amazing. That's great. But like she's staring at me and giving me this look like I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Yeah, you're getting the murder eyes.
Right. Like they have no idea what she's doing. They just think she's being nice. She's looking at me going, I'm gonna fuck like I have slit your throat like 9 times in my head right now.
Yeah. If looks could kill, you'd have done been dead.
Oh, if looks could kill, she'd have killed me a long time ago, that's for sure.
Oh, trust me, I've been on that one. I understand that one. Me and my husband do that quite often.
Oh no, her mom had her entire church convinced to the point they got a restraining order that I'm the devil incarnate. Like I literally had to call and talk to the pastor before my oldest daughter's baptism this year to make sure that I was perfectly fine to come in. I wasn't going to break a restraining order. That's part of where the name comes from. Not all of it. That's like 5%. But
that's when I would have bought some devil horns from Halloween, and
I have to explain to you what I did. It's my fault.
I would have gotten a black bath bomb, and I'd have sprinkled it under, around her waist, in her shirt, and I'd have let them baptize her.
Well, you're close. So I've never been a big fan of going to church, especially her mother's church, because they're like those holy roller, Holy Ghost types. I can't stand that shit. And I didn't want to go. Right. Well, like the reason we got married in the first place was so, my oldest daughter wasn't born out of wedlock because her family would have openly called my daughter a bastard.
Fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're great people, let me tell you.
Oh, great.
And they wanted me to get baptized because I wasn't baptized, and well, I was as a kid, but I mean, come on, if you can't look at me and like the first thing you think is baptism. It's not the first thing that comes to your head.
Me either.
So they talked me into it. I'm like, whatever, fine. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna have a little fun with this because her mom started pissing me off before we were supposed to go up there. So I went on Amazon and I ordered a one of the black bombs, the water bombs. And I'm standing there and I have like my all white shirt on that I've got, and I've got the bath bomb tucked like into the waistline of my pants, which are completely black. I made sure that they matched it so you couldn't really see it in my waistline. And he puts me back in this little pool they had in, and he dunks me in. As soon as I hit the water, the shit goes black. Just like instantaneously black to the point he screamed like a girl. I come back up out of that water. The first 7 rows of the pews have cleared to the back of the room. and they're all just staring at me like Satan just came to Earth. So I mean, it was technically my own fault, but they brought it on themselves.
Oh, I would see that would be me.
I had a lot of fun with it. I was asked not to come back. I don't see how that was a punishment.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you could tell the pastor remembered me when I got there for the baptism because he'd come up and he was talking. He's like, "Hey, Chris, good to see you." And he's like shaking my hand, but he's like very standoffish, like kind of standing away from me, and be like very light on the handshake, just kind of staring at me. Oh, my fiance had to talk me out of wearing my black eye contacts to the baptism. I wanted to so bad.
Well, but you have to be good for the daughter.
And that's exactly why I didn't. Oh no, I ended up going. I told my fiance, I said, I got two choices. I can either be the hot Viking dad or I can be the emo goth dad. She's like, let me see both. So I kind of put the emo look on and all that. And she's like, that's a little dark for a baptism. I'm like, all right, because it's kind of basically what I'm wearing now. Like I had a dress shirt, with rings and all that.
Yeah.
And I put on what I called my hot Viking dad, which is my my sheer shirt that you've seen probably some of my videos. That's got the cross tie in the front. And, I had all my stuff on, all my rings, but no black, nail polish and no eyeliner or anything. Just kind of me, all shaven. And she's like, "Yeah, let's go with that. That looks more adult." And I showed up and like you could tell because like all her friends were kind of staring at me like, "That's your ex-husband?"
Why?
Oh, I went to their wedding. Oh yeah, it was fun. I showed up all black shirt, red tie, black vest, looking like an MCR cutout. And like we've got people from like his side of the family coming up to her like, "That's your ex-husband? Why the fuck are you with my brother?" And just all kinds of just like saying random things to me all night, like, "You are way too hot to have been married to her." I'm like, we were married. I don't know if you guys have got bets going on or something. No, she's not bullshitting. I really am. Like, I'm not a paid actor. This isn't a gig. Like, trust me. I ended up dancing with her current husband at their thing because they did the dollar dances. So I went up and put $20 in because I found there was a competition between the two of them. So I put $20 in his. This motherfucker drunk comes over, picks me up half lit. Like, he's got a good foot and a half on me. Picks me up out of my chair. Pulls me up to the dance floor. We're sitting there freaking doing some kind of weird, I don't know if it's like salsa / whatever, like that closed hand dancing. Weird, I don't know. We were both lit. It was fucking hilarious.
It's called drunk.
Oh yeah, we were shit faced. Beyond. Like her mom and her stepdad are watching us like, what?
We're gonna have to get you down here for one of our we're thinking about doing like what Toby did, like a family reunion type things. Yeah, like a meetup for everybody. Because
Senna's a very interesting drunk. Just depends on what I'm drinking.
I do not drink nearly as much as I probably ought to. My husband's a recovering alcoholic, just because, well, he doesn't get mean, but he gets ornery.
I come from a family of alcoholics, so I tend to burn more than I drink, if you catch my drift.
Yeah. My husband's family are alcoholics, a lot of them. So we're trying to break those chains coming down the lines. And I have, addicts in my family, so I'm trying to break them on my side.
Yeah. Well, it's like I get that from friends all the time. They're like, "Dude, you should go out and drink more." I'm like, "Why? So I can end up like my dad?" Like I already look like an identical clone to him. I've done my best my entire life to strive and be the exact opposite of what he is. Like, why would I want to push the point? Like, we look so close to similar. I've walked into a bar he frequents and got punched because they thought I was him.
I have had a really hard time. I've not had a hard time with breaking the alcohol and all of that stuff. I've never really been into drugs, so, that stuff I drink very rarely. But I do make one heck of a drink called the Penny Potion. the
I
problem
was gonna
is,
say, I seen Christy comment penny potion down there.
I'm one of those people, when I drink to get screwed up. At least I used to. And penny potions, that's exactly what happens. You stand up and you sit down. Because your butt is drunk as a skunk and you didn't realize it. Because Christy knows exactly what I'm talking about, because Christy's done this before. Several times before.
Can I just figured I just found something. Can I show them one of my videos to kind of give them an idea who I am?
Sure.
Okay, hold on. See, I don't know if you guys will be able to hear it or not. But I don't know how many people are actually in here. If you've never seen my content, then you're curious.
What's your emergency?
I finished all them brownies.
Sir, this line is for emergencies.
Oh,
Hold
then
on.
I'm real glad.
Wonder if it's because of my light.
One,
Could you hear it though?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Okay, good. Wonder if it's because of my light. See if that'll help.
Other direction.
I don't know why it's like shining so bad.
Yeah,
Let's see.
maybe your screen.
Give me my screen brightness. Close enough.
what's your emergency?
I finished all them brownies.
Sir, this line is for emergencies.
Oh, then I'm real glad I called. I got an emergency all right, 'cause I just realized that my body's a haunted house. 'Cause inside, there's a skeleton, a ghost, and blood and shit all over the walls.
How many brownies did you eat, sir?
Well, I either ate Gornblumium or Gornplublumium, but farther along in slop.
Are those supposed to be numbers, sir?
Bits and bobbin',
Is that supposed to be a yes, sir?
Lil bloop.
Sir, I think your brain broke.
Form gleep, flormalade, bush boot, mayonnaise, back stretch, crouton, flarp.
Goodbye, sir.
Dorn.
What's your
There's that
emergency?
one.
Christy. That's Christy on a good day. That's Christy when she's in like her I love this one that we did.
I wonder why it's so. It's a massive word.
Yeah.
And then the real only true reason people actually follow me. Hold on. Gotta find a good one. Man.
Did I see, now he's got ADHD brain.
Nickelodeon. Well, there's a specific video I'm looking for, and I keep forgetting that I make a shit ton of videos.
Yeah, you do make that. And do you do them because are they helpful for your mental
Yes.
wellness?
A lot,
Do
actually.
they help? That's what I was thinking, because you make so many of them. I'm like, dude.
I think the most I've ever filmed in one day was like 15 to 16 videos. And the look will vary throughout each video too. Like in one video, I could be standing here like talking to you like I am now. The next video, I'll look like the closest thing to a yuppie you've ever seen. The next one, I'll look like a mobster, or I'll be face painted with my Juggalo OC. Or
Yeah, because I like one day I think I was on TikTok and I noticed that you uploaded like 10 or 15 of them. I was like, Jesus Christ.
yeah, there's some days I'll only upload a couple, and that's because I've just been like, I don't know, it's one of those are the low ambition days. And there's days I wake up and that's all I want to do. Is just I've got so many ideas for content that if I don't get them out of my head, that they either have to go with my whiteboard, which as you've seen yesterday, there's very little room, or they just get completely forgotten about. Like I've got a new video coming up I've been working on. I don't know if you know what pseudobulbar affect is.
No.
PBA is basically a disorder where regardless of what you're doing, you laugh uncontrollably. And I've always been one of the biggest people that believes that a lot of the reason the Joker laughs the way he does is because he has pseudobulbar affect. So I was going to do a PSA commercial as the Joker for PBA. Like, hello, I am the Joker. Have you ever heard of pseudobulbar affect? I have.
You know, and that's one of the biggest things that I've ever seen is, you know, a lot of things nowadays they're starting to understand more and more about, you know, like if you look at things, especially since, and I think we're becoming more aware because of things like Heath Ledger dying.
Yeah, especially because of that.
You know, the guy from, what band was it? Chester Benningfield.
Yep.
Bennington.
Mac Miller.
Mac Miller. Avicii. All of these people are dying by suicide because of mental illness. So it's bringing it to the forefront. Robin Williams, you know.
Yeah, Robin Williams especially.
You know, people that we thought were more normal.
Well, it's kind of like Robin Williams said, you know, the happiest, you know, the people you see that seem the happiest could be the most depressed.
Well, and that's one of the biggest things, and you never look at that. You know, you really don't, because people do not understand that depression has many faces.
Yeah.
I'm
like 30 of them.
In the Joker, they touch on a lot of mental illness, because the Joker is one of, you know, he was in an insane asylum, for God's sake. He was mentally ill. You know, I mean, hell, Harley Quinn was a mental health, you know, specialist before she lost her crap.
Because of him.
And it makes, because of him. And it makes you wonder, you know, why are these movies, why are these people, why is it taking us so long to be able to talk about this stuff? Why is there such a stigma behind mental health? Why can we not just talk about it? You know, and that's why I try trying to get people out here, trying to get people to say, hey, look, we have these things, but they don't change who I am.
Right. Well, that's why I like talking about it too, because people come into my lives and they think I'm just like this exceedingly happy person all the time, and I just wake up and just like shit positivity, and that's not even remotely the case. Like more often than not, most of the positivity you see is just on camera for the benefit of those watching, and most people don't get that,
and they don't understand that when we get on these lives and we get on here, that's a small, you know, glimpse. That's a small window of us being happy.
Right.
When we turn that camera off, a lot of times we're not still happy. We turn that camera off and we're lost. Many of us.
Yeah, there's days I've gotten off of lives, you know, where I'm singing and dancing, I'm happy for everybody, and people are like, yay, and having a great time. And as soon as the camera's off, you know, the manic goes away and the depression sets back in. You know, nobody liked your live. Nobody was really in there because they wanted to be. They were just bored, and you know that little voice in the back of your head likes to tell you mean shit.
Yep. Dang it! Sorry, I just broke a nail and I'm not happy.
Ruh-roh.
I'm getting my nails done tomorrow, and I just broke it. First one.
At least you're getting your nails done tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm getting my nails done. Which, Christy, by the way, we're getting our nails done tomorrow.
I will open it up because I'm not going to be on here that much longer.
Yeah.
I think about another 25 minutes.
Does anybody have any questions? I know,
yeah.
you know, to either Chris or to myself.
Welcome back, Tiff.
Yes, Tiffany is back. Woo woo. We got sidetracked talking about other things. So, Tiffany, do you have any questions? Have you, other than your herbal medication, have you ever found yourself self-medicating in other ways? Oh no, Tiff, I'm so sorry.
Years ago, and that's about as far as I'll go with that. I was able to beat it myself, but yeah, things got pretty. A lot of it was the depression, trying to find a way to cope, so things got very dark very quick. But sorry to hear that.
I'm sorry, Tiff. Well, when I get done here, you can call. We'll do call, okay, Tiffy? Yeah, because I mean, I know, and one of the biggest things about it is a lot of people, and with everything that I was reading on the research that I was doing, we tend to self-medicate if we don't go in and get diagnosed. Yeah, Tiffany, you're right.
You just kind of find what works.
We self-medicate with alcohol. A lot of people suffer with addiction. Mentally ill people, we tend to medicate with what we find available. And that in and of itself is horrible. It sounds terrible. But we do. We use alcohol. We use pills. We use drug of choice. And no, I'm not talking about herbal, because people say it's a gateway drug. I do not agree with that, because
the only thing that's a gateway drug to is your fridge.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, what I find hilarious, do you know what sober stands for? Or anybody that's in the live?
No.
Sober is actually an acronym.
For?
Son of a bitch, everything's real.
I mean, I know that there are some people out there that, that they say, oh, pot's going to lead to blah, 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 blah. No,
and
okay.
It can, if you're not smart.
It can, but the biggest thing that I have found that most people, they can't get out of their damn chair because they're like, my feet don't work.
Well, see, I get asked, like, why do you smoke as much as you do? Like, because I'm trying to be the first person to, smoke themselves and OD on weed. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, but damn it, I'm going to keep trying.
I've never heard of anyone ODing on it.
It's actually physically impossible. You would, in order to overdose on weed, you have to smoke your entire body weight. And before that happens, the sedative effect of weed will kick in and you'll go to sleep. It's like a body's fail-safe.
Huh. That's kind of weird.
That's why nobody's ever done it.
Wow. Okay, then.
Not gonna lie, I've tried.
Right.
I've tried it. You just can't do it.
This girl can't even touch it. It would kill me.
Oh dear Lord, that would be. Now imagine how much. Okay, so you factor that in, okay? Because everybody's like, I could smoke my own body weight. I'm like, all right, factor this in. The general regular joint has roughly about half a gram to a gram to it, roughly, depending on who's rolling it. If it's me rolling it, there's like 2 or 3 in there because I go to the extent of the paper, but that's preference. That you have to take that and factor that in. How many grams go into an entire pound? And then you have to take that and multiply that many times. And that's how many joints you have to smoke in order to legally overdose. And I guarantee you don't even get a third of the way through it before you're like...
I guarantee you don't even get like a tenth of... not even that. Like a bazillionth of a way that before you're crashed.
Yeah, right. Pretty much that'd be me, Tiffany.
Tiffany would die by spaghetti.
Well,
She
see,
would
there's
spaghetti sauce in her lungs and die.
See, and therein lies the we've talked about the negative sides. There's the positive sides too. A lot of the ADHD and stuff is I have a lot of things that I've gotten done. Like I've got 3 different podcasts. Well, I've got 2 podcasts, a podcast, my own merch line, the TikTok thing, Insta, YouTube, Twitch, just all kinds of stuff.
It helps with getting you focused.
Yeah, it really does. And that's if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be able to do like over 40 different impressions in different voices just because I've learned to do them because I'm out of boredom. Like if it wasn't for ADHD, I never would have learned half the voices that I can do. Like learning how to do Cleveland Brown's voice from Family Guy or Stitch's voice because my daughters are big fans of Lilo and Stitch. So there are some good points just as well as there are the bad.
Yeah. Well, and with me, I'm pharmaceutical. I do, I'm on medication for my anxiety. And everybody's like, oh, well, why are you so pro-pharmaceutical? I said, because I'm not pro-pharmaceutical or pro-herbal. I'm pro with what works
You're
for
pro-wellness.
you. Yeah, I'm pro what works for you. If you can get by without either one, that is great. What I'm pro for is if it works for you and you are true to yourself, fucking do it.
Yeah.
And, that's all that I want for you. And they're like, oh.
Unless that means, downing an entire thing of friggin' heroin and overdosing in the middle of the street. That's different. Don't do that.
Yeah. I want you alive.
To each their own, but that's a little far.
Chris, you just sent me a message and said that'd be over 110K of joints for her weight.
See?
God dang, girl.
And you'd have to do it. You'd have to do it in one sitting. You could not fall asleep. You'd have to do that in one sitting.
That's a lot. No, and there's no puff, puff, pass. That's puff, 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 puff.
Right.
There is
right. That's
no...
not sharing it. That's not sharing it with anybody.
Sharing.
That's you yourself.
But it's like, you have to sit there and, I was telling Tiffany this last night, I believe. It was either last night or the day before. It's remarkable what you learn about other people when you start whatever leads you down the road to wellness. What you start seeing in other people. Because when you have mental illness and you're in the illness part of it, not on your way to wellness, but when you're in the mental illness of it, you let people do certain things. And then you start feeling better and getting back to yourself. And you start standing up and going, you're not going to treat me this way because I deserve better.
Right.
You start seeing the true nature of people. And people don't like that, especially when you start calling them out on their bullcrap. And that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing, especially when we are, as a woman, we're expected to be that docile, oh, heaven, I need a knight in shining armor to help me. Screw that. I got bigger balls than most men. Mine are just on my chest. I can take care of my damn self. Do what?
So I seen a shirt that said that the one day. It cracked me up.
I'm sorry, but excuse me? I didn't ask you to come save me. One day I told my husband was like, oh, you need a knight in shining armor. No, bitch. I needed someone to come help. I didn't need nobody to come help me. I needed someone to hold my hand while we go through this.
Well, it's like the video I did for Blood Vixen. As soon as it flashed over to me talking, I'm like, before I get started, I'm going to preface this by saying she doesn't need my help. She can handle her own, but she's getting my help anyway.
Exactly. I told Tiffany, she's fierce. We're fierce. We don't need help. We just need
Now, I
somebody
will
to
say
hold our hand.
a lot of that is how we're raised, though. Too, we're raised, especially if you've got parents with good sense. You're raised that it doesn't matter who the female is; females should be protected regardless of the situation.
Yes.
And that's where a lot of that comes from. Is like we're not necessarily jumping in because we want to, but this is how we were taught to be. And if I don't jump in and help you, my mama's gonna kick my ass.
Well, but there's also those men that are like, I'm gonna do it because, well, I want control.
Yeah, we call those little boys.
And it's like, dude, get your pencil out of the way.
If you have to assert the fact that you're dominant to be dominant, you're not dominant.
Exactly. Thank you.
That's like the
And it's
people,
like-
all the time. I'm an alpha male. I'm an alpha male. If you have to tell people and you don't just exude it, then you're not.
Well, and I'm sorry, and I say this, I say this a lot. The guy that looked like freaking, what's his name on SpongeBob.
Oh, you're talking about Miller,
Yes, him.
my buddy.
I hated that guy with a damn passion.
Did you ever see the videos I did trolling him?
Yes, I did, and I laughed hysterically at all of them. Oh my god. I laughed the first time I saw that video. I'm sitting there on the couch and I had in my headphones. And no, Tiffany, I'm not talking about your life. I actually had someone the other day, and it was before you and I talked. I had someone comment to me talking about the Miller kid. She sent me a thing on TikTok. She was like, Penny, I think, because she was like, I think the Squidward guy is back.
Yeah,
And
I've
this
been
is
hearing
why-
rumors about that.
This was why I was like, what? She was like, I think the Squidward guy is back. And I was like, why? She says, because he's trying to say he's my alpha male. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, I've been hearing rumors that he's back. Like the minute people even remotely hear like a hint or a whisper of him doing another video, it's immediately in my inbox because people were eating that shit up when I was just like literally every video he'd post, I was right there stitching it directly afterwards or duetting it. Like you're not as bad as you think you are, bro. Come on, man. Come
I was
on.
like, yeah, come on, big boy. Well,
Like
and,
I like
what-
bullies.
There was a chick that was on there, Viking something or other.
Mm.
That the freaking TikTok like lit into her butt about it, saying she was
Yeah.
bullying him, and I'm like, no, she's not. She's standing up for the ladies that he has
Oh,
torn down.
I ate several bands because of it. Like there's people like, oh yeah, you do this for fun. Like no, I do it because he's a dick. Like you're not getting any repercussions. I'm like, oh, I'm getting repercussions. Trust me, there's videos you guys haven't seen because TikTok took him down. Or like there was one I posted and I know it had to have been him because it was posted for maybe half an hour. And I got a notification from TikTok stating like, look, we had to take this down due to the fact that it's bullying and harassment. I'm like, so wait a minute. The bully is reporting me for bullying him back.
Yeah. Well,
Mm.
and like the hardest part about a lot of it, it's like, I've had men in and out of my life that were like him. They gaslight and they make us women look at ourselves like we are these terrible, terrible people. And they're part of the reason why we look at ourselves and look down on ourselves. And there are women out there that do it to men.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, and it's a never-ending circle, because I don't know about you, but I know I've had men, and I've had women in my life do it to me also. So it's not just men that do it. It's both sexes do it. And they do it to both, there are women do it to women and men do it to men.
Well, see, and what kills me too is most of the people that are toxic don't realize that they, or that some of the actions. I can't say them specifically, but some of their actions are toxic, and they don't see that they are, and then they try to hide behind the fact, well, that's the way I was raised. Okay, but now you know better. yet you're still doing it.
Yeah. Well, and that's one
That's
of the
kind of like with
biggest.
Miller.
Yeah.
What, he's like, I don't know why everybody's jumping on me and this, that, and the other. I'm like, because you're a dick. Like, it's not that you're being a dick for the sake of being a dick. That I could understand. That's like ranting and raving and whatever. But you're literally waking up every day with the intent and purpose of pulling people off this app that you don't think belong here. And I'm the guy to stand here and go, try me, big guy.
Yeah. Come at me, big guy. Come at me, big boy.
Well, I tell people all the time that are dealing with trolls. I'll message their trolls directly. You don't mess with somebody who doesn't know how to handle you or how to deal with you. You want to fucking troll somebody? Come on.
Yeah.
Because you aren't gonna like the result of the cage you rattle.
Well, and that's the biggest problem with a lot of it is because there are people out there that they just do it because they just want to hurt somebody.
And we call them trolls.
Yep. And you know
Now, do you know
what?
what the opposite to a troll is?
What's that, a fairy?
Nope, a gargoyle. The opposite of a troll that uses their powers for good is called a gargoyle.
Hmm.
It's a reference back to the old 90s cartoon gargoyles. Like, y'all
I
come
love
out
that
night, so
show.
do we.
Oh my gosh, yes, I love gargoyles. I love that
All
show.
right, and we are in the last 10 minutes. If anybody's got any questions for Penny or myself, feel free to ask.
Tiffany, are you still here? I want to say she is.
I think so. I don't know. I don't know how you're seeing who is and isn't in this.
It just says 2 and gives me a little eyeball.
Did you have any other questions for me?
I think I'm pretty good. I'm still laughing at Christy. Actually did the math. Ah, Jill's here!
Jill said, I'm here.
Do you have any questions, Miss Jellybean? Sorry, I'm always going to call you that. I am forever going to call you my Jellybean. She made me my unicorn. I will have to get it out and show on one of my podcasts. She made me the most adorable unicorns. Also, Jill, you need to get with me and tell me.
That's what I'm waiting for. Is somebody make me like some fan art or something. I think that'd be cool.
Because I had somebody ask me why I need Jill. I need you to get with me and tell me how much I owe you for the unicorns we auctioned off. Somebody asked me why I like unicorns, and I said because they are unique and they are special, and not in the deep way, but in there's never 2 that are identical.
Right.
You never find 2 unicorns that are identical, and that's what makes them super special. And a little girl had heard me saying something like that. She's like, well, I don't know many adults that like unicorns. And I went, well, you've met one now. And then she saw my bag and she was like, oh my gosh, you have them everywhere.
Well, it's kind of like me with wolves. I get people ask me all the time, like, why are wolves your favorite animal? I'm like, because they're one of the least judgmental pack animals in the world. They're protective regardless of whether you're a part of their pack or not. If you're something to be protected, you're going to be protected. If you're not and you're seen as a threat, you're taken out immediately. It's like most people don't realize that when it comes to it, the elder wolves will be the ones that are leading the pack and up in front, rather than the leader, like most animals, because they let them set the tone for the pace of how far they walk and where they go. And the leader will run at the back, between the front and the back, checking on it the entire time, the entire way. And it doesn't matter if you're just a straggler. They notice, like say they come across a pup from a different pack that's been taken out. They'll take that pup and they'll welcome it into their own little pack, raise it like it's their own, and let it do its own thing and let it live. And that's why I've always been obsessed with them, is because, yes, they may be fierce. Yes, they look evil. Yes, they're looking at a wolf. They're scary, but their protective nature is a lot higher than their aggressive nature. So I think I identify with them in that way, because I come off a very aggressive, very defensive, very asshole-ish kind of person. Most people don't know me. When you get to know me, I'm actually a very protective person and very non-judgmental and open-minded.
Yeah, see, and that's how I am because I grew up in a family where I was very, very
Yes, they are.
judged. I was very judged. I grew up in a household where we were very, how do I put it? I don't even know how to put it. We had, we were Southern Baptists. We were very,
Enough said.
strictly, Southern Baptist. And so it was, you didn't do this or you didn't do that type of thing.
Right.
So being who I was, it was like, okay, I'm just going to be a damn unicorn. I kind of said, screw it all.
Well, see, I think that's kind of what attracted me to the Norse religion. It's kind of like with the Christianity and all that. It's very structured, very meant to keep you very downtrodden and looking down at yourself. Whereas with Norse paganism, they don't care if you fuck up. You just got to tell somebody about it and realize that you need to change it.
Yeah. Well, and I still live with a lot of my Christian morals. I just don't do the church thing. I still keep a lot of the good stuff. Like, I treat people the way I want to be treated. I don't do a lot, I don't cheat, I don't steal, I don't lie, I don't do a lot of those things. But I still...
Well, they're very easy values to carry over when most of the values are just, the values of being a decent human being.
Yeah, and I'm not a hypocrite.
Right.
And that's one of the biggest things is I cannot stand in the church is the hypocrisy that's there.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't do it.
It's just, I don't know, it kills me.
Yeah, but we are going to have to, wrap it up. If anyone can think of a question that they want answered later on,
Feel free to inbox.
I'm sure. Yeah, feel free to inbox either one of us. If you inbox me, I can get the question to him. You can also get a hold of me on my personal.
Don't follow me, my content shit.
Baloney. Christy, myself on my personal. Christy can, shoot it over to me if you know her. Please feel free. If you're picking this up on YouTube, give us a comment and we will answer it. And give us a follow, a like, a subscribe. You're following this on the All for the 22 Facebook. Please hit, give us a follow, repost it. Let's get people talking. Chris, thank you.
I have an outro thing for you, by the way.
You have a what?
I have an outro thing where I was going to go. Thank you for watching All for the 22. Or like the old TV show or like the old radio shows. Be like, this is Mr. Sinful. You're watching All for the 22.
I was going to say thank you for joining us tonight. And
absolutely no problem, hon.
You have been a blast. We should definitely do this again in a couple of months and just sit down and have a chat and, get some people talking.
Well, I tell you what, if the people that follow your podcast want me back, I'll come back.
All right, sounds good. And
mind if I do the catchphrase real quick before I get out of here?
Please do it.
All right, guys. Much love to everybody that's in here. Thank you guys for coming in and joining us on this adventure, this conversation has been. And like I say in every single one of my lives and every Twitch stream, make every day epic, stay positive, and always keep it strange. Love you guys.